Welcome back to David's Garage. I'm back home in Alberta after completing a 6,907 kilometer road trip. That's 4,300 miles if you're watching in black and white. And I did it all in this, my 1973 BMW 3.0 CS. Now the trip was epic. It was absolutely amazing. I went to Car Week in Monterey, and every day there is so much going on. At the end of the week, it felt like everything was like mushed into one really big day. I didn't know exactly when stuff happened. There's just so much going on. It was awesome. But I suppose I should start at the beginning. Good morning.
I gotta find a new place where the kids are hip like California, and with the radio blasting, I'm on the way. My favorite toy for a good time.
I left Alberta August 10th, bright and early, and went to my uncle's place in BC, where I had lots of ice cream and played mini golf. It was a lot of fun. I tried rum raisin ice cream for the first time, and it is, it's so good. It's so good. Anyway, before I forget, here is some drone footage from while I was still in Canada. Enjoy. In a 46-year-old BMW. That's pretty good. But anyway, from BC, I headed down to Idaho and then to Rainier National Park in Washington. That's actually where I spent the next morning. Got the drone out, here are the shots. It was a beautiful place to spend the morning. Hope you enjoy. Those drone shots will keep coming, I think. From Rainier National Park, I pretty much went straight west to the coast. And the coastal road, Pacific Coast Highway, I took all the way down to Monterey. Of course, I had to cross the San Francisco Bridge, which was pretty cool. Kind of a little bucket list thing to do. And it was a good feeling to do it in something that I really enjoy. This car is It's actually really awesome to drive. Compared to a 2002, I would say the 2002 is a much more handier, nimble car. This thing's definitely like the Grand Tour. It's definitely the car to take to go on a nice long road trip for sure. These seats too, these Shield seats are, the buckets, like the bolsters are huge, but they like really hold you in and somehow they get like more comfy and more comfy. But anyway, you guys came here to watch and see some cars. So here they are in really, I don't know what order to start. I accidentally popped by the Bugatti stand, their display, saw Type 35 and their new 110. So it was insane. Like the Chiron 2, it's like absolutely just another world. But I may as well start at the first event, which was the Little Car Show in Pacific Grove, and that was really cool. That's kind of more up my alley. There was 2002s, there was a ton of minis, which of course I absolutely love, and then just lots of cool cars. There's this MG, a red one in like really nice original shape, and yeah, just lots of cool little stuff like that. And then later on, when I went down to Lovers Point Park, I actually saw them do their little cruise. And that's one thing I love about Car Week, is you can actually see all these cars moving. It's to see them like sitting at a car show or something, and as soon as you see them moving, it is a different experience, I think. Like, it's so cool. I had a Lamborghini Miura. I saw it behind me and I was like, all right, like I'm gonna slow down. I have to let this thing pass me, and I did. And oh, it was so cool. Like, just to see it, and then of course the owner gave it a little bit of beans when he passed me. And yeah, that was epic. But the next day I went to the auction house, RM Sotheby's, I think that's how you pronounce it. They had the one of 3 original Aston Martin DB5s used in the Bond movies. And the one they had up for sale was basically fully restored with all the gadgets, and that was really cool to see. It was cool to see this map and the sensor console that of course, yeah, an iPhone would like completely blow that out of the water. But it was really cool. And then of course like the bullets under the turn signals and stuff like that, very cool. That auction house also had this 1967 Porsche 911S Rally Edition, and I didn't know the Rally Edition actually existed until I saw this car. It is such a cool and unique car. Like the Rally Edition, I don't know exactly all the specs, but they have a roll cage, they have like Recaro bucket seats, and I guess they don't have undercoating either for lightweight. It might have like a rear plastic back window or something. I don't know about that, but super cool car, and that's actually original. It has just over 8,000 miles. It looks like it's restored, but it's 100% original. It's insane. Like, it's in such nice shape, just a total time capsule. And I guess it sold for close to $1 million, which is insane, but I definitely understand that. They also had this Lamborghini 350 or 400 GT in original shape. Very, very cool. I just like my patina. Like, I love original shape stuff. It's just so cool. Speaking of original shape stuff, I saw the Bullet car. That's right, the real Steve McQueen Mustang Fastback used in the movie. And I guess it was his personal car for a while. So that car is going to be for sale next year, and that'll be interesting to see what that goes for. That is, in my opinion, maybe even like the coolest car, but definitely the coolest Mustang for sure. So like the quality and quantity of cars in this small little area is insane. It's absolutely insane. It's awesome. Like the one morning I was fueling up and there was a Lamborghini Aventador beside me. There was an Aston Martin in front. There was a Lamborghini Aventador SV waiting and a Ferrari waiting too. And that was just like a normal time filling up, it seemed. Like every time I filled up there was either a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or something else waiting or at the pumps in front of me. It's insane. So I guess the next event that I should talk about is of course Legends of Autobahn. It is very cool, especially for me seeing so many E9s and 2002s in one spot. In Alberta there just isn't even that many, I don't think. So seeing there's 15 E9s and then maybe like 20 to 30 2002s is very cool. And talking to all those guys, and here's a few of my favorite ones. There's a CSL E9 too, which was actually pretty sweet. Also at Legends of Autobahn they have BMW and Audi and Mercedes. And Mercedes, they had a 1937 500K that absolutely blew my mind. It is like the most classy baller car of the like pre-war era, I think. So cool, so cool. I stared at it for quite a while, went underneath, and the restoration was done super well. That was unreal to see. I'm just thinking back of everything. Like it does kind of group into one big day. The Works Reunion 2 actually went before Legends of Autobahn to see all the Porsches. There was a few early 356s that looked unreal.
Oh yeah.
It's good to see if this guy's your owner. Hello, owner.
And there's only a few really long hood 911s that stuck out to me, but very cool. It was funny, there was a guy with a 912, and I was talking to him for a while, super nice guy. I was like, man, like, this thing's original paint, isn't it? He's like, yep. I was like, oh, this would be so hard to find another one. And the next car beside it was an all original paint 912 too. It was totally ridiculous. All right, so finally my last day in Monterey. This was the Sunday, and I went to the Rolex reunion races at Laguna Seca, which were epic. Seeing old Porsche 911s and 356s battle it out was so cool. Walking around the pits, there was a Ferrari 250 GT short wheelbase ×2. There was two 300 SL Gullwing race cars that were raced by HK Engineering. I didn't even know those raced, like I didn't know anyone actually raced those anymore. Very cool. Also, the Chevron cars, and of course they had like a pre-war group too, which was super sweet. But yeah, it was sad to leave. I didn't know what to do afterwards. I kind of hung around Monterey for a bit before heading up, and I took the route to basically Yosemite. I drove this car through Yosemite National Park. Saw the Captain, which is very impressive. It is, I guess it's the biggest like, flat slab of granite that is existing. Apparently, there's a movie that I have to watch where a guy free solos it, so that's interesting. Anyway, the car behaved well until I got into Nevada. Nevada was plus 33-ish, and the car, I experienced vapor lock, which means when your fuel boils, it gets vapor or air in the system, and it's basically fuel starvation. It just doesn't get enough fuel, and then it quits. And it quit conveniently in the middle of nowhere. And it's super hot out, of course. But basically, I just waited it out and yeah, started it up, drove it back to the nearest town, filled the tank up with fresh, cool fuel, and basically waited till it gets a little later in the day so I could, yeah, drive again when it was cooler. And I did, and the car behaved. And then the next morning, I woke up bright and early at 4 to kind of beat the heat essentially, and I kept driving, and of course the sun rose, it got hotter and hotter, and the car was sputtering a bit at around 9-10 o'clock ish, and then around 11 it finally totally quit due to vapor lock again. And I didn't know this, but vapor lock, your fuel boils, right? But when you shut a car off you get heat soak, which applies a little bit more heat, which makes for a little bit more pressure, and this can actually wreck a fuel pump. Now, just reading this, it sounds kind of ridiculous, but my fuel pump actually broke, and well, not broke, but it was a mechanical pump still, so it had the diaphragm, and I think maybe like a little pinhole or something in it. But it quit at 11 o'clock. I parked it, and I basically waited until around 9 o'clock. I spent 10 hours waiting to start it again. And it started up fine, but it would only rev to about 3,000 RPM, and that was it. And then, yeah, like I just waited this long, and then I have to wait till the next morning to get an electric pump. And that's what I did. And after putting the electric pump in, it started great. And then, yeah, drove it again for quite a while before my next failure, which was a coil. My coil melted. But at the same time, my electronic points, like it's got an electronic pickup. It doesn't have points anymore, but the pickup somehow wasn't working 100%. After putting the coil in, it had spark, but it wasn't consistent. It would kind of give out. So like after I put the coil in, I started it, and it ran fine, and then it would start to sputter. And then I thought for sure this is a fuel issue. It did basically the exact same thing as with vapor lock, and I was like, maybe the electric pump isn't pumping enough, or maybe the carb, I don't know what. But I ended up taking the carb, one of them off and completely apart, and it was absolutely perfectly clean inside. So it's just like, what is going on here? And it took me a long time to figure out that it was actually the pickup, because it would have spark, but it just wasn't consistent. And I ended up just bending it a little bit closer to the pickup and then just tapping it, and somehow it worked. The way I figured out it was the pickup is when it was running, I would tap on the side of the distributor and then it wouldn't sputter anymore. So very weird, but I finally got it fixed again, and I was finally back on the road and back home. So these breakdowns actually added another day and a half to my trip, but it's home, and I can't complain. It was an epic road trip. To do that many kilometers in something, yeah, it's 46 years old, it was very cool. And to be in Monterey too, there's lots of Lamborghinis and stuff driving around, but to drive something like this, I actually felt kind of cool. Like it was quite the experience. And there was 2 or 3 other E9s driving around as well that I saw anyway. So the whole trip was epic. I should show you my fuel pump install actually. A little ridiculous. So here is my pump install. I literally just cut the fuel line and put it in between. My ground is at the tank corner, and then my positive wire goes through up into one of the speaker holes, through the back seat, kind of under here, through here, and then right into the glove box. I didn't bother even hiding the wire because I'm going to take this out and put a mechanical pump in right away. But yeah, these are the seats I was talking about earlier. They really hold you in. It's insane. And like somehow they get more comfy and more comfy. These are Shield seats. They apparently would be factory optioned, which is apparently a pretty rare option. They don't have headrests. And of course, like the rear seats are done in the same same material. Interior of this car is actually in really, really nice shape. I love the power windows. The front windows are mechanical, and so is the sunroof, which is kind of a Euro car only thing. But yeah, I'm definitely happy to be back home. I'm happy to have experienced that trip. It was awesome. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I mean, might be a little bit of an abrupt ending, but I didn't film much when the car was broken down because I was just sad. Otherwise, yeah, I got a little bit of work to do. It leaked this much oil out when I drove it out. That's actually, I found out later, is power steering fluid. So, it's still a bit of a leak. And the heater actually went too. I don't know if you can see, there's tons of smoke coming out. When I was driving, I had the heater on, just the fan on, and heat when it was plus 30. I was hoping, the engine actually seemed to be running cool, but I was hoping maybe that would take some heat out of the engine bay. That didn't work. The heater motor started smoking like crazy, and the whole car like smelled like electrical smoke. So yeah, that's another thing I have to do, I guess. Otherwise, it was mint. If I keep talking, I'll probably think of all the other problems that I had. Nah, I love this thing. It was awesome. Such an epic trip. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed.